to order at 2:32 p.m. At this time, if you all please stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we will now take roll. Our secretary isn't here, so the roll today will be presented by our sergeant at arms.
Madam President, we have 5 officers, 7 legislators, and 3.
Thank you. Now, if everyone just take a minute to look over the agenda. Are there any objections to the agenda?
Should it be? Objection. Shouldn't the fashion show practice instead of rehearsals?
Rehearsals.
Rehearsals.
We're rehearsing.
Oh.
Well, thank you. Are there any objections to the minutes? Okay, if there's no objections to the minutes, to the agenda. We'll now look over the minutes. I'll allow 1 minute to review the minutes. At that time, I will take any corrections. 1 minute starting now. Okay, are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay.
It says there will be a scrapbook meeting on Friday 15th at 1 o'clock and then 3 o'clock.
Thank you. Hold on, where is that?
I'm sorry, it is announcements, under announcements, B.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more corrections to the minutes?
Yes. Under committee reports, activities, it's supposed to be a Tuesday, which is the 15th, not Wednesday.
Thank you. Are there any more corrections to the minutes? Okay. There are no more corrections to the minutes. The minutes stand approved as corrected. We'll now proceed with committee reports. Beginning with issues and concerns, we have a presentation today by Charles McMillan. So Charles, if you take the floor.
Madam President, student body, Charles McMillan, if y'all don't know me. Basically what I'm doing is putting a presentation today for a Financial Aid Day seminar I want to hold in conjunction with 3M. Right now the financial aid picture for campus is pretty fractured. There's still offices on campus that deal with financial aid. They all tie in together, but students really don't know how they tie in together. So the objective of this is to tie everything together so the students have a clear picture of the financial aid process. Basically the task, during the last week of April, possibly first week of March, SGA will host a financial aid day seminar with the following offices: financial aid office, VA office, the business office, Parents for Higher Education, and the Scholarship Foundation. Purpose is to provide information to the students about the various forms of financial aid so they can determine which type of financial aid fits their needs the best. We're also going to provide students with information on the various offices on campus and how they interact with each other. These will be the tasks for supporting offices. They're going to prepare an oral presentation, a slideshow, and be prepared to answer questions in the Q&A session after the presentation. You know, to inform students of the requirements of eligibility, the application process, the receipt of financial aid, and requirements to maintain financial aid. This will be our task at the financial aid office, prepare the Q&A, the oral presentation and slideshow. And basically present any information they feel relevant to help students out with the financial aid process. This is tasked to the Veterans Affairs Office. Basically, it's the same thing, with the exception of the state of North Carolina has a lot of scholarships available to dependents if you're a veteran, especially for a war veteran or a disabled veteran. Like myself, I'm in both categories. So if my daughter attends a state school, she has $8,000 waiting for her to attend school. Very, very few people know about that. Another key hot topic is we have a large population of soldiers who attend here. Everybody knows with the sequester, financial aid has been eliminated for soldiers through their service. So, a lot of soldiers don't know that they're also eligible for financial aid through a Pell Grant. Now, there have been some rumors stating that, hey, Army hasn't suspended it, the Marine Corps hasn't suspended it. However, the current budget environment, I would count on the financial aid for the soldiers not lasting long. So it'd be best to educate the soldiers and their dependents. This is tasked to the business office. They're going to ask questions about that one card and disbursements. And any other relevant information they feel. This is tasked to parents of higher education. For people who don't know what PIFI is, basically it's a program for single parents to help provide child care and address any issues that are unique to single parents on campus. This is a task of Scholarship Foundation. One thing that I've noticed, and a lot of people, who work with scholarships, there are millions of dollars worth of scholarships that go unclaimed every year, just sitting there. I applied for a scholarship through the FDCC Scholarship Foundation. I got the English scholarship. Now I'm thinking not because I was the best person for it, but more than likely the only person who actually applied for the scholarship. Basically, what I would like from the SGA is provide logistical support, funds for refreshments. I would like the president, Madam President, to MC the event. I feel it's a good event to put the SGA out there in a very good light, to show them we do other things than spring fling and pizza day. Any questions? Yes.
Yes, have you set aside a certain dollar amount that you are requesting?
Not as of now. It's still in the planning phase. I've talked to all the agencies, they're aboard, wanting to present it to the SGA government to get their opinions on it. I wouldn't expect it to be very expensive. Any other questions?
Do you have an idea of where you want to use for the seminar?
It depends on the turnout, possibly the auditorium. I've reached out to the high school recruiter. Once this gets established, I'm going to ask her to send out a mass email to the seniors right now in high school, to their parents. If they respond with enough, we'll move it from the auditorium to the multi-purpose room. And if need be, have more than one session.
Another thing, you said the last week of April.
Tentatively.
That's would it be possible to move it up a week because of the event we have for the last week of April?
Move it back into May.
No, we're in March, right? Can we move it up a week in April?
I would recommend against that due to the planning we have to do. Basically, once this gets approved, I'll shoot out an email to all the officers involved. We'll have what we call a sync meeting. We'll determine the order, which every officer goes into, what type of support they need. But my days are flexible.
Do you see this as being like a daytime event or like an evening thing?
It all depends on how much turnout we get, how much interest. For the students already on campus, I can see a daytime event. For the parents of the high school seniors, obviously they have to work. And if they need an afternoon session, I believe we should be able to support that.
There is going to be the issue being that it's at the end of April, that finals will be upon all of us, especially when there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of officers with a lot of credit hours. So how would that conflict be avoided or reconciled? Because at the end of April, that is a very controversial time to have something this big, especially with the fashion show already going on, this spring fling, and then this, then Earth Day. So the SGAs are going to be taxed out to the max on top of their finals.
The logistics side of it will also have help from 3M. So
That's
that's,
what I was about to say, it's not just SGA, 3M is on it too.
so that will alleviate any stress on the SGA.
Wouldn't it be better to do it at the beginning of the semester where people are actually confused and they can actually use this information at the same time? Can you put it in the summer too?
That's a great that
Doing it in the summer, this way they're prepared for the fall when they come in.
the long-term vision of this will have this be a biannual event, like the fall festival and spring fling. This is the first iteration.
Right.
Once myself and other officers we leave, we transfer to other schools, it'll be up to y'all to continue this and conduct it how you see fit.
We could do it on April 30th. That's technically the last week of April. It's a Tuesday. We could do it then. That'd be a proposed date for you.
Before that, we're busy the week before that, so we can do it on the 30th.
Charles, one thing in favor of trying to do that before exams, before students leave, is we have a number of students every year, I'm going to say number, I'm talking about hundreds, that procrastinate. They may do their FAFSA form in February or even January. They're asked for additional documents and their file sits there untouched until they come back ready for school to start, and say in July, and then they say, where's my financial aid? I haven't heard anything about the Pell Grant. So, okay, well, you haven't submitted the documents. At that point, you're very unlikely to have your aid awarded just because of the time crunch. So having something like this before they go would be one last opportunity to reinforce to students the timeliness of getting your application in. If you will get it in by, the mid-May, the financial aid will be in place by the time classes start. But invariably, students wait until mid-July, and most of the time it's just not going to happen because there's hundreds of others or several thousand applications in front of them. So, yeah, I would argue in favor of having it last April, very first part of May. Just based on my experience with students over the years.
Are there any other questions?
There are no more questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President.
So now we will continue with our committee reports. From the Activities Committee.
We did have a meeting this week. But we have been planning for the pizza night that we're going to have. Then the Spring Fling event is on the way, and we are trying to create a shirt for the event. Then the fashion show is still in the works. We had to change some of the mechanics of the fashion show because we had this meeting and there were problems with some of the things that we were doing. So we had to kind of like adjust some of the finer details of the event. But pretty much we're good to go. Just look out for emails concerning events that are coming up and when you should come in and help out, because we really do need people to come in because a lot of people don't. And 5 people can be doing the job of 10 people.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Next, we will hear from the budget from our treasurer.
Thank you, Madam President. The budget as it stands right now is sitting at $36,413.24.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Next, our secretary is not here. Pat, would you like to do report from scrapbook committee?
Yes, ma'am. We have a meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and it's going to be held in the SGA office, not the 14th. Also, I'll be sending out an email after the scrapbook committee on the times Tuesday and Thursday of the spring break for people to meet at my house, 275
Thank you. Next we will hear from publicity from our parliamentarian.
Madam President, General Counsel, the spring fling flyers are up, the pizza night flyers are up, the pizza day / spring fling poster for Spring Lake campus is in the works. The only thing that I ask is that the A-frames be returned to the office, you can clean them and put them back out. Because if I'm not mistaken, the graduation fair, the career day, those flyers are still on there, so that needs to be changed. But that's it.
Okay, next we will hear from volunteer operations from our president. Thank you, ma'am.
Madam President, General Counsel, I have nothing new to report. The designing station, as we all talked about, they volunteered, and I heard it was really good. I couldn't attend because I was at work, but I heard they enjoyed it, painting and planting. Those of you who missed it, you missed out on a great opportunity.
Thank you, Madam Sergeant. And next we will hear about the fashion show, which we got a little, we heard a little bit from the activities, but is there any more here? Well, I'll just report for the fashion show. For the fashion show, yesterday we had rehearsal, and rehearsal was fantastic. We had a lot of people step forward and just say, hey, we need to buckle down, we need to start keeping some order. And we just had a really strong rehearsal yesterday. We're starting to get a flow of how the fashion show is going to work. Our entertainment came yesterday. They gave us a little preview of the dance and routine that they're going to do. We still have a few people that are actually interested in entertaining as well. We're planning for a 20-minute intermission, so that allows for at least 3 different acts if they wanted to. So we're playing around with that. So feeling really good about the fashion show. We just have to tighten down as far as our funds and our budget. We're still waiting on our backdrop, which not the whole fine arts department, but someone in the fine arts club is going to put together for us. And we decided on a few more practice days for the fashion show. So if you're available on Monday the 15th, yeah, and Bianca did send out an email to everybody that was at rehearsal yesterday. So just so you all know, if you're available on Monday the 15th at 2 o'clock, we're going to have rehearsal in the gym. On Wednesday at 2 o'clock, that same Wednesday, the 17th, we're going to have rehearsal again. And then the day of, we'll also have rehearsal about an hour and a half before the actual show. So we got a lot lined up for that. And also the models are going to be going for orientation at the cosmetology department on April 10th, where they'll just be, it's basically a consultation as far as the makeup and the hair that they're going to be using for the fashion show. Okay, so that concludes our committee reports. We can now move into unfinished business. And seeing as we have no unfinished business, we'll now move into new business. Are there any motions on the floor?
Yes, Madam President. I move that we allot $1,500 for the Taste of West Africa on May 2nd, at 6. For our Oxjam Hunger Banquet. Sorry. Any money is not used will be put back into the SJ budget.
There's a motion on the floor that reads, I, Cat Jones, move that we allot $1,500, for catering from the Taste of West Africa for the Oxjam Hunger Banquet on May 2nd. Any money not used will be put back into the SJ budget. For those of you that don't know about the Oxfam Hunger Banquet, I will let Mr. D explain.
Somebody, I guess I thought that was Oxjam, was a real concert, great concert either. Anyway, Oxfam is an international relief agency, deals with world hunger, and I'm not going to call any names, but most of us around this table eat pretty good. And I'm not going to look at anybody in particular here. Mr. I want to squeeze it into a large size shirt. But, I mean, there really are people around, and have to choose between them eating that day so they can nurse their babies or letting their children eat. Now, it's really, it's tough, but it's a reality of life in a lot of countries. So what Oxfam is doing is, again, they're trying to reach out and help alleviate, reduce, minimize hunger. And one way of doing that is it's called this hunger banquet. And this is coming from the Global Education, which Mr. Torino over here, Janice Holden Torino, is also a member. This is going to be kind of a test run. It's not going to be the full 90-minute, 2-hour version. We may do that later in the fall. But essentially what happens is, you get maybe 100 people come in, and 15 of them are from a first world country like the United States. 35 are from second world countries, and that might be somewhere like Uruguay or somewhere like that. And then third world countries might be Haiti. Okay? So what happens is the people from first world country are going to be waited on. We'll have wait staff, and they'll come in and serve them some really nice food, some beef, rice, a dessert, plantain, tea, coffee, whatever they want. They'll be sitting over there, and they will be served by the wait staff. Second world people, this is strictly by random. You come in, you put your hand in the box, draw it out. You get a 1 or 2 or 3. 1, your first world, 2, your second world, 3, your third world. Second world people are going to get to sit at a table, but they're not going to be waited on, but they'll have some of the same things, but not as much meat. They'll have one less other part of their entree and a dessert. Third world folks are going to get rice, maybe a little bit of meat, not much. And you'll have to drink water. The other people will get cold water, the second world people. Third world, you just get room temperature water, and you have to go get it. Nobody's going to wait on you. You have to go get it. And you may, for people that are able to, we're going to let them sit on the floor. For older people that are having trouble getting up, I'm not going to make them do that. But it teaches, there's several things it teaches, but one thing it teaches that all of us sitting in this room are just very, very lucky that we happen to be born either here or came to the United States, and we're fortunate in that regard. Everybody's not that fortunate. But also to teach all of you and the rest of us that, raise awareness of hunger in the world and try to do something about it. Now in the fall, if we may do the full-blown version, and at that point we're going to have someone actually carrying water, because in a lot of those third world nations, the women are the ones that are responsible for carrying water. If you've ever seen it, they may have to walk a half-mile or mile to the community well or the river and put the thing on their head or on their back and carry it. So we're going to have some kind of competition, just make some fun out of it, but at least help people understand what people face every day. And the possibility, if SGA wants to get on board, we may do something like a tent city or a cardboard city or something where to duplicate conditions, I mean, this only would be for a night or over the weekend, but help people kind of live that out for the weekend at least. So that, in a nutshell, that's what this Oxfam Hunger Banquet is about.
Thank you, Mr. D. Okay, so do we have a second to this motion?
I second.
Motion has been properly seconded by Chizola. And I'll now move this into a vote. All in favor of this motion, please raise your green voting card. Okay. This motion passes unanimously.
Madam President, I would add that we will have some oxtail and goat for those that would like to try.
Is there any more new business to be brought to the floor?
Yes, Madam President. I move that the SGA allot $350 for the Spring Lake Spring Fling Pizza. Any money is not used will be put back into the SGA budget.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor that reads, I, Cat Jones, move that the SGA allot $350 for the Spring Lake Spring Fling Pizza event. Any money is not used will be put back in the SGA budget. Is there a second? Okay, this motion has been properly seconded by Cornelia Clouds. now move this into a vote. All in favor, please raise your green voting card. Alright, this motion passes unanimously. Is there any more new business we brought to the floor?
Yes, Madam President. I Trent Homes, a lot that the SGA allowed, that the SGA allowed $866.60 for pizza night at the main campus on April 11, 2013. All the money now used to be paid in SGA budget.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor that reads, I, Trent Holmes, move that the SGA allow $866.60 for the purchase of pizza for the pizza night at main campus on April 11, 2013. Any money not used will be put back in the budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been properly seconded by Chizoba Naruko. Okay, I'll now move this into a vote. All in favor, please raise your green voting card. Okay, thank you. This motion passes unanimously. Is there any more new business to be brought to the floor?
I Trent Homes, thank you. I Trent Homes moved that the SGA allow $1,000 for refreshments for the student health clinic event. Any money not used will be put in the SGA budget.
There's a motion on the floor that reads, I, Trent Holmes, move that the SJ allow $1,000 for the purchase of refreshments for the student health clinic event. Any money not used will be put back in the SGA budget. Is there a second? Second. Yes, this motion has been properly seconded by Tracy Ann. I'll now move this into a vote. All in favor, please raise your green voting card. And this motion passes unanimously. And for those of y'all who don't even know what you just voted on, we're having a student health fair day, so this will be refreshments for the health fair day. Is there any more new business to be brought to the floor? Okay. And I would like to take this time to acknowledge our guests. If you'd like to take the floor.
Thank you. It's lovely to see the entire SGA, Madam President, or those of you who are able to be here. I'm Janice Holden-Toruno, and I am the resource person for the Global Education Committee for Fayetteville Tech. And we have a project that we're working on, and we're hoping that the SGA will consider assisting us with this project. I have 3 different handouts, and if we can just pass them along, that would be great. The project is called Dreams of Dresses, and essentially, if you recall, back in the fall, we had a visitor come here from Costa Rica. She was a member of the Baruca Indian tribe, where they carved masks. It's a very rural area. She was here for a fair amount of time, and one of the things that she was doing was she came here essentially with 2 outfits and masks, and she went back with a lot of used clothing that she was able to get because there are a lot of children in her village who have essentially only hand-me-downs. There are some kids, you know, in diaper age who really are only wearing diapers. They don't have anything else but diapers, which of course are not Pampers, but hand-washed things. So there is a project that's been done in other countries, but this one is called, we're going to call ours Dreams of Dresses. And essentially it's to make pillowcase dresses. This is an example of one that comes from a king-size pillowcase. And you know, isn't it cute? It's too bad it doesn't fit me. I'll pass that around so you can see it. I see that. And then this is one that's made with a standard size pillowcase, and they tie at the top. And the nice things about them are that they're fairly sturdy, because there are people who are washing their clothes on rocks in the river, and so it has to be something that will stand up to being pounded and sloshed against the rocks. But the idea is that, you know, every little girl seems to want to have a dress, and so we can make them very easily with pillowcases and get people to volunteer to do this, to do the sewing, get people to donate them. And then we do have a way already set up to get the dresses to Costa Rica. We also want to get a sewing machine for the village because they have one sewing machine for a village of 2,600 people. And so we would give the sewing machine to the school so that the children could learn how to sew and be able to do some things. This is just the same thing, but a little shorter. Yeah, aren't they? That looks adorable on you.
What if there's a girl my size? Where's she going?
Well, most of them are not eating that much food.
I'm just
But we could do that. The other good thing about these is that because they're very simple and they're not fitted, a 4-year-old girl might wear a pillowcase dress, and that dress might still work for her when she's 7 or 8. It might be shorter, and they might put like a little pair of shorts or something on underneath for modesty's sake. But this would help. And the important thing that doesn't get talked about, but when you talk about third world countries and poorer places, a lot of times if you have children who are not well cared for, if they're living in the streets, when they go into town, like, you know, the Baruch are in their little tribal area, they're on a reservation. But if they have to go shopping or do anything, because there's only one small store that's about the size of half of a 7-Eleven in Kansas, and that's where they have to do their shopping, or they have to take a bus and ride 3 hours. Well, if they go there with their kids, and if the children wander off, if they're not well dressed, sometimes they can get kidnapped for human trafficking purposes. But a kid who is dressed in nice clothing, you know, they wash their clothes. I mean, it's not like they're dirty and grungy. They do, you know, they take pride in their appearance, but they wear things that are very poor. A kid who is dressed in something that looks fairly decent is not likely to be targeted by human traffickers, because that shows that there is an adult who is watching out for that child and would notice if the child is missing. And the woman who was here as an artist was a person who was very, very lucky, because she was orphaned at the age of 9 and she had to live on the streets until she was actually taken in by some nuns who wound up helping her, and then she wound up working as a maid, sleeping in people's, you know, laundry rooms in certain areas for years. So she knows what it's like. So what we are hoping to do, if you'll notice, there's the little proposal that we have. The other information will be information that we give to people who come to a booth that we hope to have at the Spring Fling. At the Oxfam banquet, we would like to also set up a table and allow people to give donations, because people won't necessarily walk in with pillowcases. But we're hoping to have the tent and the table. We'd like to have at least one SGA member work with the subcommittee that's working on this project. And we'd also like to ask the SGA to give us some funds to pay for printing for some of these posters to promote the project. Maybe to get some labels that we could put inside the dresses so there would be an acknowledgement that these are things that are being given by the people at Fayetteville Tech. And then also some funds for shipping the sewing machine that we hope to buy with donations, so that we can get the sewing machine to the tribe. And then, of course, any assistance that people can give with publicity or putting up posters would be wonderful. So that's really just what I wanted to ask. And I don't know if you can act on that today, or if you need to act on it another time. But do you have any questions?
Yes, do you have any exact pricing for what you are asking from us?
Now, I think it would probably be around $350, but that might be a high estimate. We do have a way, certainly, to get the dresses there because my sister-in-law lives in Costa Rica and she works for American Airlines. So I can get, if I don't go to Costa Rica myself with the dresses, I can send those dresses to Texas where my mother-in-law lives and she can pick up the dresses, take them back for free to Costa Rica because she has free baggage when she flies. And then we can just put them on a bus and get them to the Baruca. And they can pick them up. But the sewing machine is a little bit more difficult to do because it's not something you can just easily throw in a piece of baggage. Yeah, I remember. We're looking at trying to do this the most cost-effective way. And then if the project proves to be successful, possibly next year we might do this for a different country. Perhaps Haiti or some other place. Any other questions? Yes?
Is there any plans for outfits for the boys?
For boys?
Yeah.
The boys seem to be in better shape. I think we could easily take donations for shorts, but there are patterns for making shorts out of t-shirts, but we looked at them and we said, a pair of shorts made out of a t-shirt is not going to be very sturdy. So, and boys' shorts seem to be easier to get than dresses. So at the moment, we do not have a plan for the boys, but if somebody were to donate shorts for the boys, we would make sure that they got them.
Does it matter the age for the boys, like the shorts?
I don't think it matters. I mean, the 18-month-old that she was looking for, the child's mother had passed away and the father, unfortunately, was not taking responsibility. So this 18-month child was being shared by 4 different families who were taking turns taking care of him because someone had to take care of him, but they couldn't all take him. There wasn't one person who could say, well, I'll just take care of him all the time. So when she came, she was looking for clothing for that child because he didn't have any. He was just in diapers. Fortunately, it's not so cold there. It's Costa Rica, although it's in the mountains and it does get cool at night, it does sometimes get to maybe 60 degrees at nighttime. It's chilly enough, but not terrible.
Madam President, what I would say is I think the portion of the that we used to reproduce the posters, that's not really going to be an issue because that's a separate account. That's not something you really would be required to vote on. I think what she's asking for, and of course I'm the chair of that booklet committee, would be a commitment from SGA to get involved and stay involved. Have that one person that's going to be the contact person for this particular project. Because the easy thing to do is solve this thing with money. Just give some money. Let's just buy some dresses and send them to them. But again, that's not a learning experience. Donating the pillowcases, they're very durable, but having people personally involved raises that level of awareness. It's something they're not going to forget about because they'll remember. And one of the things we did talk about, and I think we did at one of our meetings, was maybe either getting some photographs of the children wearing those and sending them back, just so you'll make the connection and know that you really did help a child down there. And we are going to be speaking, because Ms. Swan is over the foundation, been really busy the last few days with the graduation fair and alumni, and then she was in an hour-and-a-half meeting with me this morning. So anyway, we've got to get in touch with her about setting up an account that can receive the donations and just keep them on deposit until they're used. So we've got one other meeting, I know when the 11th. So I would say, I would hope that you could go ahead and make a decision on it today as far as the involvement of the SGA, and then in the next meeting, which we may have a better handle on whether or not to be making any kind of monetary contribution.
be the SGA representative for this project.
What would that entail?
Yeah.
What
What
would
would
that,
it entail to be like the contact person for the
Well,
committee?
we're eventually hoping that, you know, if we have some people at the spring fling at a table, we'll have dresses and flyers and things. But then we're gonna try to get an all Fayetteville email to go out. And then we want to have a place where people can drop off donations of pillowcases or the bias, you know, these little bias seam tape things, they're $1.84. It's almost more money than the pillowcase. And you need 2 packages to make 3 dresses. But, you know, we need somebody who can help with collecting those items, help promote it, you know, kind of talk in general about it, make sure flyers get put up in the appropriate places. And then just come with some good ideas, because, you know, the more ideas we have, the merrier.
Okay, a quick thing, our office would work for a drop-off, so, but that would be fine if we discuss that with Mr. Lee, but.
Trustee sent you. Okay, so you have. She's reliable.
She's reliable? Yay! You're all reliable, aren't you? Okay, well, that would be wonderful. That's an excellent first step. And then perhaps we could find out a little bit more about the amount of money that we would like to ask and come back with that rather than, you know, I mean, I just wanted you to get you a ballpark figure for now. But we can do some more follow-up on shipping and such.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is there any more new business to be brought to the floor? Okay, seeing as there isn't any more, there's no more new business. We'll now proceed with announcements. The first announcement is that we are having a scrapbook meeting tomorrow, at 3 o'clock. It's gonna be, omit room 14, I guess we're obviously meeting in the game room. So if y'all just come by the game room tomorrow at 3 o'clock. This is for, you know, anyone that wants to help, but also M4C attendees, people that are going to M4C, please come to that meeting. And at that meeting, we'll be discussing more days to meet over spring break. The next announcement is that fashion show rehearsals, I gave y'all those dates earlier, the added rehearsal dates. They're Wednesdays from 2 to 4. Today, I think even they had a little impromptu rehearsal. Just some of the models got together and decided they wanted to practice their walk. But the next meeting day will be the 10th, April 10th, which is going to be the orientation day. Then the 15th, the 17th, and the 19th. So if you're available on any of those days, please come by and help out with the fashion show rehearsal. The next announcement is that that immediately following this general council meeting, if you are going to M4C, we're meeting with Ms. Sobers briefly, just to discuss some of the particulars about conference, so everyone can be on the same page and know, you know, what we're leaving, the schedule, what kind of clothes you need, so on and so forth. The next announcement is that we are having a pizza night on main campus, which is going to be Thursday, April 11th. And we need help with that, y'all. That's like a crazy event because we have all these pizzas, all these people. Please, please, please make your best efforts to be there. It's on a Thursday. It's Thursday evening.
Yeah,
what time?
the same day that we have the general council meeting.
Right. It's at 5:30. If you'll refer to your announcements, all the information's on there. It's Thursday, April 11th, from 5:30 to 7. It'll be in the Tony Rand Student Center. Don't have a sign-up sheet today, but I will have one on that day. Yeah, it's a day of a general council meeting, so I'll have a sign-up sheet for you then. But just putting it out there so you can be planning, because we need that help. We absolutely need that help. Then the next announcement is that main campus spring fling is on Tuesday, April 16th.
Spring Lake campus.
Yeah, the Spring Lake campus, they're out of order, but the Spring Lake spring fling is on Tuesday, April 9th, which is a week prior to the main campus one. If you drive or know someone that drives, can you couple up with somebody and come out to Spring Lake? It's not even that far. It's like literally 10 minutes up the street, and we need help. just because it's not here on main campus and there's not as many people, doesn't make it any less important. It's only for 2 hours, just come out, it's from 12 to 2. Come out, help us serve the people, and then, I mean, even better than that, you get 2 spring cleans. You get to enjoy 2 spring cleans, so come on out and help us out with that. Make plans to do that. And then the next announcement, a lot of people, elections are coming up, okay? Election day is going to be Thursday, May 2nd. If you are considering, if you want to run for office position, I made this announcement before, get with that officer. Make sure you truly understand the position before you run out for that position. And if you get with that person, you like what you hear, you think that you're a good person for the job, I'm telling you now, none of these jobs are easy, so don't think you're gonna come up here and just, it's gonna be a cakewalk. It don't even go like that. You're responsible for the SGA. So seriously consider that before you, I need your attention. Seriously consider that before you put in any application or any kind of platform for running for office. So please submit your platform, and your platform is basically, it's your speech, it's also your position on the SGA, what you plan to bring to the table, include all of that for Mr. D to proofread, get with you about, and try to have that in, well, not try to, you have to have it in by the 25th, which will be a week, 2 weeks before the actual election day. So have those ready, get your game face on, ready to give your speech. And the next announcement, have a great spring break. And the next announcement is that our next general council meeting will be April 11th. Are there any more announcements on the floor? Okay, seeing as there aren't any more announcements, we'll now move into advisory remarks. Ms. Sobers.
Here.
All right. Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I've got 2 brief ones. Anybody going to Florida for spring break? Nope, okay, I was just checking. The other one is,
Should I go?
Coach is leaving, his bus is pulling out at 9 o'clock next Friday. And he will leave you. You're behind, will be sitting in the parking lot if you are not there, ready to leave. Ms. Sobers can tell you when she's taking her route, but I can tell you that Coach does not play around. He says, leaving at 9, that doesn't mean 9:01, 9:02. And the other thing about that, there is an expectation for those of you who are going to conference that you do attend education sessions. That's the expectation because there's information there that that will help our SGA this year, especially for next year. But it'll help you to network with some people, and you need to do that. Don't just hang around with people in our SGA. Go, as hard as it might be for some of you to do it, go meet some new people from the other schools and find out how they do their SGA and what kind of problems they had, what kind of successes they have, and learn from everybody. But some of you, because of your positions, will need to go to specific sessions that may deal with issues and concerns. There's some that go to the intramurals, but the others are primarily education sessions. And we need to have a minimum of 1, preferably 2 people for each of those ed sessions. So Ms. Sobers and Coach will be there, and they know that's what the expectation is. And other than that, I just hope you get some good R&R for this next week, and have a safe time, come back safe and sound.